What if I told you that the emptiness consuming your life right now isn't a disease to be cured, but a signal pointing you toward your greatest breakthrough? What if Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived 4 Nazi concentration camps and helped over 10 million people through his revolutionary book, Man's Search for Meaning, discovered the one missing piece that transforms empty lives into extraordinary ones? In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to reveal Frankl's 3 life-changing discoveries about why you feel empty and exactly how to fill that void with unshakable purpose. But first, I need you to comment below and tell me this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how empty does your life feel right now? Because what you're about to learn will challenge everything you think you know about happiness, success, and what makes life worth living. Here are the 3 Frankl revelations that will completely change your perspective. You see, most people think emptiness comes from not having enough. Not enough money, not enough success, not enough love. But Frankl discovered something shocking. During his time in Theresienstadt, Auschwitz, Kaufering, and Turkheim concentration camps, he watched thousands of prisoners, and he noticed something that defied all logic. The people who survived weren't necessarily the strongest or the smartest. They weren't the ones with the most resources or the best connections. But wait, here's where it gets interesting. Frankl observed that the survivors all shared one invisible quality that the others lacked. And when he returned to his psychiatric practice in Vienna after the war, he tested this discovery on thousands of patients suffering from what he called existential vacuum, that crushing sense of emptiness that's probably familiar to you right now. The results were staggering. Patient after patient transformed their lives using Frankl's method. But before I reveal what he discovered, let me ask you something. Have you ever achieved a goal you thought would make you happy, only to feel more empty afterward? Have you ever looked at your life and wondered, is this it? Hold on to that feeling, because in 3 minutes I'm going to show you the study that shocked even Harvard psychologists when Frankl presented it during his legendary lectures. Here's what Frankl realized in those death camps. The prisoners who gave up hope weren't the ones facing the worst physical conditions. They were the ones who couldn't answer one specific question. And this same question is probably haunting you right now, even if you don't realize it. The question was this: what is life asking of me? Look, most people approach life backwards. They ask, what can life give me? What can I get out of this job, this relationship, this situation? But Frankl discovered that meaning doesn't come from what life gives you. It comes from what life asks of you. The prisoners who survived were the ones who found something bigger than their own suffering to live for. Now listen, this isn't just feel-good philosophy. This is documented clinical evidence from a man who treated over 30,000 patients. Using these principles, Frankl developed what he called logotherapy, literally meaning therapy, and it became one of the most effective psychological treatments ever created. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think finding meaning is about discovering some grand cosmic purpose, some massive life mission that'll change the world. That's not what Frankl taught at all. Let me tell you about one of his patients, a successful businessman who came to Frankl's clinic in Vienna feeling completely empty despite having everything society told him should make him happy. Rich, respected, powerful, but inside, nothing. Just an aching void that kept growing no matter what he achieved. This is just the beginning of what Frankl discovered about the human condition. During their first session, Frankl didn't ask this man about his childhood trauma or his relationships. He asked him one simple question. If you had to choose between feeling good and doing good, which would you pick? The businessman was confused. What do you mean? He asked. Frankl explained that most people spend their entire lives trying to feel good, pursuing pleasure, avoiding pain, seeking comfort. But the people who feel most alive, most fulfilled, most connected to life itself are the ones focused on doing good. This changes everything about how we understand emptiness, because what Frankl realized in those concentration camps is that humans can endure almost any suffering if they can find meaning in it. But we can't endure meaninglessness, even in the most comfortable circumstances. He watched fellow prisoners who had everything stripped away, their families, their homes, their dignity, their future, Yet some of them maintained an inner strength that was absolutely unbreakable, and he studied what made the difference. Hold on, because what I'm about to show you will blow your mind. Frankl documented 3 specific sources of meaning that kept people alive even in humanity's darkest hour, and every single one of them is available to you right now, no matter how empty your life feels. The first source of meaning is what Frankl called creative values. This isn't about being artistic or creative in the traditional sense. It's about contributing something unique to the world through your work, your relationships, your daily actions. The prisoners who maintained hope were the ones who found ways to give something back, even in the camps. But before we continue, let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly useful? When did you last contribute something that mattered to someone else? Comment below and tell me about the last time you felt like you made a real difference. The second source is experiential values. This is about fully experiencing life, love, beauty, truth, goodness. Frankl noticed that prisoners who could still appreciate a sunset, still feel moved by acts of kindness, still connect deeply with other human beings, were the ones who kept their humanity intact. Wait until you hear what happened next in his clinical practice. When Frankl applied these principles to his patients after the war, he discovered something that revolutionized psychology forever. One woman came to him after multiple suicide attempts. She felt completely worthless, completely empty. Traditional therapy had failed her repeatedly, but when Frankl helped her identify her unique contribution to the world, caring for her elderly neighbor who had no family, everything changed. Suddenly her life had a point. Someone needed her. Her existence mattered. The technique I'm about to reveal in Minute 7 has transformed millions of lives and is based on Frankl's most powerful logotherapy principle. But here's what most therapists miss. They try to make people feel better about their emptiness instead of helping them find meaning through it. Frankl taught that the void you're feeling isn't the problem. It's the solution trying to emerge. Your emptiness is life's way of calling you toward your purpose. Let me tell you what happened to Frankl himself that proves this point. While imprisoned in Auschwitz, he lost everything. His life's work, a manuscript he'd spent years writing, his family, his freedom. He could have given up completely. Instead, he made a decision that would change psychology forever. He began mentally reconstructing his lost manuscript, word by word, using scraps of paper he found in the camp. But that's not the incredible part. The incredible part is what he discovered while doing this. As he focused on recreating his work, his contribution to helping others understand the human psyche, his own suffering became bearable. Not easier, but meaningful. He was transforming his personal hell into future hope for millions of people. This is when Frankl realized something that modern psychology still struggles to accept. Happiness isn't the goal, it's the byproduct. When you stop chasing happiness and start chasing meaning, happiness finds you. But when you chase happiness directly, it runs away like a shadow. Here's a shocking statistic that Frankl documented in his post-war clinical work. 89% of his patients who suffered from what he called Sunday neurosis, that empty feeling that hits when you have nothing to distract you, were successful by every external measure. They had money, status, relationships, yet they felt completely hollow inside. This changes everything about how we understand success and fulfillment in modern life. Now, Frankl discovered something else during his time treating these patients, the people who overcame their emptiness. Fastest weren't the ones who found the perfect purpose. They were the ones who found purpose in their current circumstances, no matter how mundane those circumstances seemed. One of his most famous cases involved a janitor who came to his clinic feeling worthless and contemplating suicide. This man saw his job as meaningless, his life as pointless. But Frankl helped him see something extraordinary. Every night, this janitor was literally creating clean, safe spaces where hundreds of people could work, learn, and grow the next day. His work wasn't just cleaning, it was contributing to the functioning of an entire community. Within 6 months, this janitor became one of the most positive, energetic people in his building. Same job, same circumstances, but completely transformed. Perspective. He stopped asking, "What can I get from life?" and started asking, "What is life asking from me?" This is the third and most powerful source of meaning, attitudinal values. Even when you can't change your circumstances, you can always choose your attitude toward them. This was Frankl's greatest discovery. In the concentration camps, when everything external was taken away, the one thing the Nazis couldn't control was how prisoners chose to respond to their suffering. He wrote in Man's Search for Meaning, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." This knowledge is usually only available to people who pay thousands for advanced psychology training, but I'm sharing it with you right now because Frankl believed everyone deserves to understand these principles. Frankl discovered something that most psychologists missed completely. The problem isn't that your life lacks meaning. The problem is that you're looking for meaning in the wrong places. You're seeking it in achievements, possessions, other people's approval. But meaning isn't something you find or get. It's something you create through your responses to life's challenges. Let me break this down step by step with a technique Frankl used with thousands of patients. It's called deflection, and it works by shifting your focus from your own emptiness to something beyond yourself that needs your attention. Here's exactly how this works in practice. Instead of asking, "Why do I feel so empty?" ask, "Who or what is calling for my response right now?" Instead of, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What's the most meaningful thing I could do in this moment?" Instead of, "How can I feel better?" ask, "How can I serve something greater than myself?" The next part will change how you see everything about your empty feelings. Frankl treated a patient who was a concentration camp survivor like himself. This man couldn't shake the emptiness he felt after losing his entire family in the Holocaust. Traditional therapy focused on processing his trauma, but nothing worked. Then Frankl tried something different. He asked the man, "If your wife could see you now, what would she want for you?" The man broke down crying. "She'd want me to live. She'd want me to help other survivors." Within months, this man became a counselor for other Holocaust survivors. His emptiness didn't disappear, but it transformed into fuel for serving others who shared his pain. Before I reveal the most important part, understand this. Frankl's approach isn't about positive thinking or pretending everything is okay. It's about finding the hidden purpose within your suffering. Your emptiness isn't a sign that something's wrong with you. It's a sign that something's trying to be born through you. This is what Frankl called tragic optimism, the ability to remain optimistic despite suffering, to find meaning despite emptiness, to say yes to life despite its difficulties. He proved this was possible by living it himself and teaching it to thousands of others. Here's the revolutionary part that changed psychology forever. Frankl showed that humans aren't primarily driven by pleasure or power, but by purpose. When you have a reason to live, you can endure almost anything. When you lack that reason, even comfort becomes unbearable. The most powerful technique requires your full attention because it's going to challenge everything you believe about fixing your emptiness. Frankl developed what he called paradoxical intention. Instead of trying to directly eliminate your emptiness, you welcome it as a teacher. You ask it, "What are you trying to show me? What am I being called to contribute? How can this void become a birthplace for meaning?" This technique transformed a successful lawyer who came to Frankl feeling suicidal, despite having everything society defined as success. When he stopped fighting his emptiness and started listening to it, he discovered it was calling him to use his legal skills to help people who couldn't afford representation. His emptiness became his compass. But here's something even more powerful that Frankl discovered through his clinical work. He found that people who transformed their emptiness most effectively shared 3 specific characteristics. First, they stopped waiting for the perfect moment to find meaning. They found it in whatever situation they were currently facing. Second, they understood what Frankl called self-transcendence. They realized that the more you aim at happiness for yourself, the more you miss it. But the more you aim at something beyond yourself, serving others, creating something valuable, standing for something important, the more happiness comes to you naturally. Third, and this is crucial, they learned to see their struggles not as punishments, but as assignments. Every challenge, every moment of emptiness, every difficult situation became a question. What is this asking me to become? How can I grow through this? What strength is this developing in me? Frankl treated a woman who had lost her child and felt like her life was over. Nothing had meaning anymore. Traditional therapy focused on helping her get over her grief, but Frankl took a different approach. He helped her see that her grief was actually love with nowhere to go. Instead of trying to eliminate the grief, he helped her channel that love into helping other grieving mothers. She became a grief counselor and helped thousands of parents navigate their darkest moments. Her emptiness didn't disappear. It transformed into a source of deep compassion and purpose that touched countless lives. This is what Frankl meant when he said that suffering without meaning is unbearable. But suffering with meaning becomes transformative. Your emptiness isn't a life sentence, it's a life assignment. Now here's where this gets really interesting for your personal transformation. Frankl discovered that most people experience 3 stages in overcoming emptiness. Stage 1 is recognition, acknowledging that your emptiness is real and valid, not something to be ashamed of or quickly fixed. Stage 2 is investigation, asking yourself the hard questions. What values do I want to live by? What contributions do I want to make? What kind of person do I want to become through this experience? What would my future self thank me for doing right now? Stage 3 is activation, taking concrete steps toward meaning, even small ones. Even if you can't see the whole staircase, you can take the first step. Even if you don't know your ultimate purpose, you can find purpose in this moment. Let me share something that might surprise you. Frankl's most successful patients weren't the ones who found one big life purpose. They were the ones who found multiple small purposes throughout their day. Purpose in how they treated their family. Purpose in how they did their work. Purpose in how they responded to challenges. Purpose in how they contributed to their community. This is revolutionary because it means you don't have to wait for some grand revelation about your life's mission. You can start creating meaning right now, in whatever circumstances you're facing. The question isn't, what's my purpose? The question is, how can I live purposefully right now? If you're serious about transformation, here's what you need to understand. The emptiness you feel isn't your enemy. It's life's invitation to step into your deeper purpose. Frankl proved that meaning isn't found in comfort or achievement. It's forged in the fire of responding to life's demands with courage and commitment. Drop a fire emoji if you've experienced this kind of emptiness and you're ready to transform it into purpose. Tell me in the comments, what do you think your emptiness might be trying to teach you? The knowledge I've shared today usually costs thousands in therapy sessions, but Frankl believed these insights should be available to everyone because he understood that meaning-making is a fundamental human need, not a luxury for the privileged few. Your empty life isn't broken. It's pregnant with possibility. It's calling you toward the contribution only you can make. Viktor Frankl survived humanity's greatest darkness to show us that even in our emptiest moments, we can choose meaning. We can transform our suffering into service, our pain into purpose, our emptiness into extraordinary impact. The question isn't whether your life has meaning. The question is, are you ready to create it?